Hey, what's up everybody? In this video tutorial, we're going to be taking a look at how to create the Hershey's Kiss. So in class, we went ahead and we unwrapped the Hershey's Kiss and we got two different measurements. All right, so there's going to be a measurement across the bottom. This is only the flat surface on the exact bottom of the Hershey's Kiss. We found out that that was about a distance of 0.84. Then we measured the overall height of the Hershey's Kiss and we found out that that was 0.88. Now, we were also taking a look at how to determine what density is. And the equation that we wrote down is that density is equal to an object's mass and we divide it by its volume. With the Hershey's Kiss, it's going to be hard to find out what that volume is just through the means of math. There's no equation that's out there because it's not a solid primitive. It's not a sphere, it's not a cube, it's not a rectangular prism, it's not a cone. So it's going to be really difficult to find out what that is and to calculate it. So instead, what we talked about is we could take an irregular solid, which is a Hershey's Kiss or a rock, whatever that is, and we could use a graduated cylinder to measure the displacement in a graduated cylinder with the use of water to get a pretty good idea. We don't have any graduated cylinders in here, but what we do have is we have the CAD software. So we're going to model it in order to find out what that volume is. Now, as far as mass goes, we do have a digital scale. All right, and so what we did was we took a Hershey's Kiss, we put it on that digital scale, and we found out it's about 0.2 ounces, okay, for that Hershey's Kiss. All right, so that's the information that we had up front. So let's go ahead and get started with Fusion, and let's create that Hershey's Kiss. All right, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to come out here and create a new design. Okay, I'm going to create a sketch, and I'm going to be picking on this plane right here. All right, so there's two different things we need to create to start, and that is we need to draw a line that's going to go up, and it's going to be the distance that we recorded in class, which is 0.88. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter after I draw that vertical line that's 0.88. Now I'm going to draw a line starting from the origin. I'm going to kick this over. It's going to be a horizontal line. This needs to be a distance of 0.84. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm sorry, it's going to be 0.84 divided by 2. Let's go 0.84 divided by 2. There we go. Now it's looking right. So now that we have that, what we can do is we can now bring an image in. So it's really hard to sort of make the profile of making a Hershey's Kiss a Hershey's Kiss. So that's why I used and I gave everybody this image, which is found out here on Google Classroom. So if you go underneath Candy Project, you're going to see that Hershey's Kiss. What you need to do is right click, save the image, okay, and you're going to save that out to your laptop, desktop, downloads, whatever that is. But if I were you, I would definitely be making sure to give this a name that you will remember. Okay. All right. So once you have that saved, back into Fusion, here's where things get a little bit tricky. Up here at the top right-hand corner, we can see this little icon that looks like an image. Okay, if we pick on that image, we can see that that is canvas. One of the options it's going to give us is we can come out here and insert an image from our computer. So I'm going to be picking on that insert from my computer. I'm going to go out to wherever I have saved that image of that Hershey's Kiss and say open. When I do that, it's going to be asking me for a plane or a face to use. So here's one it provides to me. So I'm going to go ahead and pick it. And notice how I'm not getting out of canvas. I'm going to leave that right where it's at. So the difficult part we have now is that now we need to move our image. And what we're going to do is we're going to be placing the center of that vertical line down the center of our Hershey's Kiss. So this origin point right here needs to be at the base of it. But the problem is that I need to scale this up to get the peak of that to the top. So in order to do that, in order to scale this equally, I need to come up here to the top right-hand corner of this box. I'm going to be pulling this out. So I'm going to be moving and scaling and getting this pretty close, all right, where this is going to work for me. So we can see how the end point of my vertical line's right there at the top of my image. And then down here, this line here, the endpoint should be close to where this curvature is starting to come to this flat edge. All right, it's pretty darn close. I'm just going to go ahead and go with this. Okay, so the next part of this is we need to come out and we need to trace the actual profile of our Hershey's Kiss. So I'm going to come up here and go to Spline. Now, as I'm using Spline, it's probably a good idea to come down here to your grid and your snap settings and make sure where it says snap to grid has been unchecked. So I'm going to start this, and it has to start at the endpoint. I'm now going to use spline and I'm going to trace the profile of my Hershey's Kiss image. Once you get down here towards this arc at the bottom, I know it is going to curl back in, but instead we're going to take this right here to the endpoint. Now you get to the last endpoint, it's going to want to continue on with spline. So at this point, just hit the enter key to cancel out on spline, and now we have that profile that we can use. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish the sketch. I'm gonna look at this in a home view, all right, and now I can come up here and go to revolve. So I'm gonna pick revolve. It's smart enough to determine and detect that there's a closed loop there for it to use, so we don't have to select the profile. The only thing it's asking us to select right now is going to be the axis. So pick on the vertical line, we can see that that is going to revolve that around 360 degrees. And now we have our Hershey's Kiss, okay, from that canvas. Now it's kind of turned it three-dimensional. All right, so we're done with the canvas. So all you have to do is over here in the browser, we can see that canvas is one of the options and it has an eyeball next to it. Let's just turn the visibility off by poking it in the eye. All right, so now we have our Hershey's Kiss. All right, so what we need to do is we need to solve for what the volume of this is. All right, we know what the weight of the Hershey's Kiss is. Now we need to solve for what the volume is. So here at the top, we're going to right click, we're going to come down and find properties. In properties, we can see things like general, manage, but physical is here. You have to hit the flyout next to physical in order to see all this information. All right, you should be seeing a volume that's pretty close to like 0.25. All right, since we now know what the volume is, in my case it's 0.25, we know what the mass is or what the weight is, which was 0.2, now we can solve for its density. So in order to solve for its density, we're going to be taking our weight, which was 0.2 ounces, we're going to divide that by 0.25, which is our volume, and we can see that now the density of Hershey's milk chocolate is 0.8. So we need to remember that 0.8. All right, so what we can do with this now is we can create our own custom material for our Hershey's Kiss. So in order to do that, we can right click up here at the top. We can go down into physical material. And just like we did with the M&M, now we're going to be using a material as a surrogate, all right, in order to create our custom material. So I'm going to come here to my plastic folder, come to my ABS plastic, and I'm going to drag that right on top of our Hershey's Kiss. We can now see in this design up here, we can see that ABS plastic has been used. So we're going to right click on it and say edit. And now we're going to come up here and turn this into a name of Hershey's Milk Chocolate. The problem is that the density for ABS is still there and it's 0.613. We just calculated that as 0.8. All right, so our 0.8 ounce per cubic inch is going to be our density. Now I'm going to come in here to advanced because I can see it's still white. I'm going to go to advanced, pick on appearance, okay, come down here and find my color box, pick on that, select the brown color to use, and now we can darken this, okay, to make it look more like milk chocolate. I'm going to say okay on this. I'm going to hit apply and cancel out. I can now get rid of my physical material dialog box, and now we can come back into this, right click on it, come down here into properties, come down into physical, and now we should be seeing a mass that's very close to what we measured on the scale earlier. And what we scaled earlier was 0.2. And I can see here my mass is 0.201 ounces. All right. And there you go. That is how you create a Hershey's Kiss, the chocolate Hershey's Kiss. Create the material, solve for things like density, solve for things like volume, and so on. So there you go. Have fun with your Hershey's Kiss chocolate for IED.